Greetings. My name is Dr. Hugh Scott, and I'm a proud member and fellowman of Groove 5 Groove Social Fellowship Incorporated. I entered our illustrious organization in the spring of 1978 through the Huskie Chapter at Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. I want to give a shout out to our beloved sister organization, Swing 5 Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated, and specifically the Raleigh Graduate Chapter for allowing me the opportunity to share some much needed information about voting in general and the upcoming Georgia senatorial runoff January 5th in particular. So why runoff? Well, the state of Georgia requires a runoff if no candidate receives 50% of the vote. So who's in the runoff? Well, there are two runoffs. There's David Perdue, the Republican incumbent, versus John Ossoff in one. Neither one of them got 50%. And there's the second runoff is Kelly Loeffler, who was actually appointed after the previous Senator Saxby Chambliss became ill. They gave her his position, let her fill out his term. Kelly Loeffler is running against the Reverend Raphael Warnock. And although Reverend Warnock won the plurality, he didn't win a clear majority. So they're having another runoff for that. So, the Sisters of Swing 5 Swing are not going to tell you who to vote for. Nobody's going to jeopardize their 501c3 rooting for one candidate or another. But I can tell you there's a stark contrast between these four candidates, and the Sisters of Swing suggest that you go to ballotpedia.com and do your own research and make up your own mind. In fact, you use Ballotpedia to look up any elections in any part of the country, not just for this, but in the future. So it's a good website to bookmark. So why is it important? Why is this senatorial runoff, these two senatorial runoffs, so important? Let's take a look quickly. So as you can see here, the blue states represent states where senators ran in one that were Democrat. Conversely, the red states showed the states where Republican senators won, right? These states here that are neither color that are white represent states that there were no elections this year. The senators served for 6 years, and the founding fathers didn't want all of them rolling off or rolling on at one time, so they staggered them. So a certain percentage of them are up for election one year, and a certain percentage of them are up for election another year. So why is it important? Check this out. The Republicans have 50 senators. Now, there's only 50 states, and there are 2 senators per state. So there are only 100 senators, right? The Congress people, I think there's 435 of them. So the senators it's a much more exclusive club, if you will. So of those 100, the Republicans already have 50. A lot of people say the Democrats have 48. That's not true. Democrats actually have 46, as you can see here. The independents have 2, but the independents and Democrats caucus together. So in reality, it is 50 to 48. You see the state of Georgia is the only state here that's gray. That's because their 2 senators have not been determined yet. So let's talk about registration. To register here in Georgia, and again, you have to live in the state of Georgia, go to mvp.sos.ga.gov or BGWIO's website. Again, you don't have to write this stuff down. I'm going to share a slide with all the information. All you have to do is pause it at the end of the video, and you could write the stuff down at your leisure. What's the difference between absentee ballots and early voting? They're both early, right? True. Absentee ballots are paper ballots that you could request and either physically mail in, or you could take it and drop them off. Voting early, you're physically going into a polling location and voting, just as you would if you physically got in line January 5th for the runoff. So there's no difference there. Let's quickly talk about some dates. Here in Georgia, you can register to vote from now until December 7th. So let's start doing that early. Let's make a plan and register early if you're not already registered. Early voting starts December 14th through approximately the 30th. Excuse me, it varies from county to county down here. If you're having some trouble getting off work, for instance, during that 2-week block, the state has to make available one Saturday, which in this case will be December 26th. So Saturday, December 26th, if you don't want to take off work or can't take off work, you can go vote at that time. Now, if you go and vote January 5th, there's a couple of things to remember, just like with early voting too. You need valid ID, but you only need one form of valid ID in the state of Georgia. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Now, what are valid IDs? Could be a Georgia driver's license. Even if it's expired, it's still a valid ID. Okay. It could be a valid out-of-state driver's license, a passport, any valid issued state or federal photo ID. And that's just a few. Again, I'm going to give you some websites. You can go out to the website and you can find exactly the exhaustive list of IDs that you can bring that qualify for photo ID for voting. So let's show those now. If you have any questions about absentee ballots, early voting, provisional ballots, and or polling locations here in Georgia, please visit Georgia's My Voter page at mvp.sos for Secretary of State.ga.gov. Again, for candidate research, go to ballotpedia.com or bgwio.org, voter/voter-education. If you have any questions or you see any funny business, call the Election Protection Hotline at 1-866-OUR-VOTE. That's 1-866-OUR-VOTE. That's the same as 866-687-8683. If you live out of state and you want to participate, of course you can't vote, but there's a lot that you could do to help from out of state. You could partner with fairfight.org, which is Stacey Abrams' organization. She's doing amazing work. For those of you that are familiar with Stacey Abrams, there was some dispute about whether the gubernatorial election was taken from her down here in Georgia, and she didn't complain about it. She went and mobilized and registered a whole bunch of people, and she was instrumental in turning Georgia from red to blue. You could partner with the NAACP like we did. We at BGWIO partnered with the NAACP.org/engage. They have texting campaigns that you could do from home. They have email campaigns that you could do from home. They have calls that you could make from home. So it's easy stuff, not like you have to go canvassing and putting yards and signs. You could partner with them again at that site. When we all vote, there are a lot of well-known people that are involved with this. In particular is former First Lady Michelle Obama. She's doing some incredible work with them too. Again, it's called whenwevote.org. And of course, lastly, Brother's Going to Work It Out. You could go to their acronym, bgwio.org, for more information. I want to thank you for your time, and the Sisters of Swing by Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated want to thank you for your time. They don't want anybody standing on the sideline. They want you to get into the swing. My name is Hugh Scott. I want to thank you again. God bless. Let's get out and get voting.